Well, we need to welcome you back, and we'll see the big story for today. We're talking about that recent demand, not from us, but rather from the federal government insisting that federal universities should indeed pay 40% of their internally generated revenue, and funny enough, not insist they pay, but definitely will be deducted at the end of November. Well, anyway, that directive flying seems to be indeed having a serious backlash, especially from stakeholders who feel that it's more like strangulating the universities to perform, knowing that government do not and rather rarely releases subvention for these universities to run through some of their major things they need to do as an institution. Well, all of that is taking the center stage of the show today, and I still have no other person but the immediate past chairman of ASU FUPRI. We're talking about Professor Ezekiel O. Agbalagba. He's presently the Dean of Faculty of Science. But anyway, let's do this and go get a message from our sponsors. We're talking about Beneta Gas, and when we come back, all we need to do is continue and have more talk on it.
Oh, yeah, follow the road, auto better quality. If you talk gas matter, oh, yeah, follow Beneta. Gas with the better quality. Beneta gas. Gas where they full rich man. Beneta gas. Every brother na shopal. Beneta gas. No mago mago. Beneta gas. Different type of gas cylinder. I mean, I got gas we go last you well. Beneta gas. For gas matter, Beneta now do. Beneta gas. Service in a them they run. Beneta gas. Beneta make you carry go.
For gas matter and home delivery, make a wire Beneta gas plant for 080-6745-7890 and 080-5904-7722. Beneta gas plant, the tequila of gas matters.
Well, you do know the big story is big enough to accommodate all your businesses. All you need to do, come over. Let's see how I can talk business. But let's return to the business of the day, and we're talking about that 40% gross deductions that the federal government is saying they would do or have to do at the end of this month, or rather starting from the end of this month, and more of the reactions coming from those in the educational sector, especially the ASU itself. But let's quickly come back to you. Before we went on the break, we talked extensively on what your union feels about this new directive or policy from the federal government, and you said it would definitely strangulate the activities of the universities, as it will hamper their power to run effectively, as it means they would now need to look for other source of funding to deal with some of the major issues. But let's come to the issue that truly concerns parents and students of these institutions. Just in July, most federal institutions increased their tuition fee. It went up to about 100 or 200%, all in a bid to increase the internally generated revenue to run at the cost of the institution. And we could understand the backlash that followed immediately after that, with the federal government coming out to say they were not a part of it, they never increased the tuition fee. But my next question now is, if the federal government goes ahead to deduct 40% from the internally generated revenue of universities, are we not likely going to see another increase in the tuition fees? And would parents and students not end up being at the receiving end of all of this?
Thank you, Ray. You know, sure, you can take it to the bank that there will be what we call exponential increase in charges.
Wow.
First, what the most of the federal university did over the last 5 months is to cushion the effect of the inflation. Of course. And government is now saying that they are taking 40%. So I will take it from me that there will be what we call yearly incremental school fees. And the university must survive. And if they must survive, who are going to be the receiving end? The parents. Because students must pay for the education. That's what government is saying. And that is the policy they have hold on to over the years, which ASU fought for over 11 years now. I was here in one of our programs when I told us that federal government proposal was that university should, a student will pay not between $1 million and 1.2 million naira. And ASU said no. That was what broke down the negotiation with Babalaki Committee in 2017. And this is what government wants to implement. When they came up with the student loan, it's not by magic. Government know that school fees will be out of the reach of the poor parents, and students will go and look for money. And the student loan has come to stay. Government said they have budgeted 5 billion naira. Yes. You see, government is indirectly introducing this, and parent will be the receiving end, because the university must run, and if it must run, the student must go to school. They will pay for it. That means there will be increment in school fees charges. Even now, if government go ahead to implement it and the university cannot run, there will be monthly charges, probably monthly charges to run the university, and students will have to pay. So parents will wake up now, because we see everything from ASU fight. It's a parent fight now, because some of the children, maybe in the coming years, may not be able to access university education or tertiary education.
Okay, now, as much as you've said that, let's also understand, because we do know that your association will soon have a meeting concerned on this. But the fears of many parents, because we're still talking about parents and Nigerians, if we take our minds back to 2 years ago and even last year, your union had a protracted industrial action against the federal government on issues of IPA-PIS and issues of revitalization, revisitation of the universities and others. But I'm just curious to ask, because with what you people said, this is more of an attack on the institution, and when there's an attack, there's always going to be a response. So my question is, are we likely going to see a fallout between your union and the federal government if they go ahead to deduct this 40%? Because, like, I'm quite sure they are going to deduct it. That's their stand, and I feel they will definitely do it at the end of this month.
Thank you. I think my union will make a statement. But, you know, not all fight that you fight. You see, we fought this fight, and those who were fighting for started accusing the union that our own is too much. Some of our parents, because of maybe party affiliation or other things, they were not happy with us. But this was what we were fighting against, of increase in school fees. A parent called me over the weekend and asked me that, you're only for I learned that this is the amount you are paying for acceptance fees. I said, of course, you have just started. You may pay more than that if you don't accept this now. You see, ASU may choose their fight, because this is coming to the university system. Directly, it's affecting ASU, but we have seen that some of these fights we are misconstrued, and therefore we have to be careful in choosing our fight. We will make a statement. We have condemned it. We will continue to condemn it, like that of the issue of student loan. Take, for example, when ASU came up to say that this student loan cannot work, and it's a pointer towards increasing school fees and taking university education above the reach of students. Students were the first people to say, criticize ASU, and even went to the president to say they should remove ASU from a member of that board, which ASU even declined ab initio. Student, the NAS, went to Abuja, met with the president, and make a statement that ASU should be removed. So in some of these fights, we are going to choose our fight, but we will make a statement. That I know.
Okay, now let's come to it, because it is quite certain with the way you've said it that most certainly parents will definitely be at the receiving end of this. But let's look at ways of really dealing with it. Do you see another means of us really working through this? Because why I ask, let's look at monies that were even budgeted for education and ASU, or rather in the institutions, universities, in the 2023 budget. We know about 470 billion was budgeted for universities in the 2023 budget, and we also do know that 1.17 trillion was in total for education, which is just 8.2% of the whole total budget for 2023. We do not know the major for supplementary though, because we've not getting any full amounts attributed to education in the new supplementary budget that was signed yesterday by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But my question is, knowing that the federal government, I have no doubt that the federal government will go ahead with the deductions, that's for sure. But what should be the way forward? Because this is now turning out to be Nigerians in between the hard rock at the deep blue sea. It's really not going to be easy. Looking at how much of hardship seems to be. We have high gas. We pay high on gas. We pay high on fuel. Rents are increasing by the day. Well, let's leave food out of it, because nowadays, if you can take something in a day, is enough for you to go by. But the education of our children is paramount to us. But what do you feel needs to be? Can we strike a balance and see how it will not really affect students? Or what's your view on this, and how can it be less impactful to parents?
Thank you, Ray. I want to come back to the budget.
Okay.
Federal government budget for 2023.
Yes.
I can tell you sure that 30% of that budget was not implemented. Let me give you reasons.
Okay.
Out of the 400-something billion naira,
470 billion for university.
None of those items on that list were implemented. This is November. We have less than 45 days
to the end of the year.
To the end of the year. None of those parameters. One, revitalization was nothing was released on revitalization. On an academic allowance, which was budgeted 50 billion, it was not released.
Okay.
For increment, salary increment of the award salary increment,
yes.
None of them were implemented. So I tell you that 30% of that budget, apart from salary component, which is the old salary, nothing was implemented. And I tell you, look at the current phase of the university system. People are morally down. And you cannot give the best at this level. And government is bringing more strenuous policy to kill the university system. I think government should have a rethink. That is the first thing I will, if I'm in the position to advise government. As I speak now, most of our lecturers are leaving EMAs. Many are resigning. Some resign not because they are leaving. They said they want to go to personal business, because some of them cannot even pay their bills. As we speak, I think my salary cannot buy my fuel for a month. From my house to the school monthly, my salary cannot buy. People will not hold in the days to come or in the months to come. Nobody will agree to hold position in the university, because as a person holding a responsibility, you have no entitlement of 10 naira added to your salary. So what is the reason to become head of department, a director, or a dean, or any other position? So it will fall back to the university administration, which is the vice chancellor. Will now be heading department, because if you give somebody a responsibility, say, let me teach and go away. Because in doing that, I can take all my courses within 2 or 3 days and decide not to go to work any other days. But as it stands, that is the correct position. So if I want to say, what is the way forward? Government should retract their steps, because the masses are watching. You came to serve. So if you must serve the people, you must listen to them. You see, when government said they want to widen the tax net, they should be able to look at where is this policy should be implemented, not in education. Because the only thing Nigeria enjoys is education. What Nigeria is known for today is because we have a high number of educated people. And that is what we are priding ourselves all around. You say any foreign country you go to, Nigeria have the highest professionals.
Yes.
So if we kill education, which is the engine room producing these people to even go abroad, then what is our fate? So the way out is government should have a rethink. For them to grow this Nigeria, to grow any economy, they should look back on the education and fund education. That is the only way out. Or X.
But don't you feel this is another means of them really funding? Because they keep complaining that the funds are not there. But if they can get huge sums from the federal institutions, they feel they can plug it back and push it back into the institutions to keep them running.
The question is education a fund generating venture? All over the world, go and ask. In Canada, they will train you. Government pay your bills. In most of the foreign countries, even in US, where they implemented this student, you pay
student loan. Yeah.
You see what happened before this present government said they are going to clear off all the debt.
Yes.
Some persons we finish on student loan and throughout their life, and some of them refuse to even work because of that.
Yes.
Because government still have social security
to take back the money.
So that even if we are not working, they can pay. But that is not here. Because we copy things from abroad or we copy things from other countries that we don't look at other factors around those policies. If I decide not to work in US because I am taking a government loan, I will be fed. Government will pay me monthly. But is that applicable in Nigeria? No. Now, we look at all this. You said you want to get 40% of whatever the school is generating because we are in IPPIs, where all funds goes to the single treasury account. You can deduct anything. You will end up seeing that people will not, even the vice chancellor may not be able to move at a certain time. The vice chancellor of ABU Zaria said this is not a good time, that is just waiting to leave. That the office of the vice chancellor is no longer attractive. If a vice chancellor can say that, you know what is happening in the institution, especially in the federal universities. States are better off now than the federal.
Okay, now let's come back to the issue of the student loan, because like you said, some of these is more pointed to the student loan. It's just like you're giving with one hand and taking with the other. Yeah. Now, can the student loan also help to address all of this? Because like you said, it's not certain that the fees will definitely go up on account of this. Yeah. The school needs to generate funds to keep it running. It's only common sense. So can that be a way out?
You see, at times I look at things and I laughed. Look at government. We have government agencies. The National Assembly, can't we generate funds from there? Because we always look at education. You see, these are people who put you there. You are going there to serve them. How much is being voted in all this? The executive, look at the luxuries of executive. Can they cut down costs and fund education? Must it be from the poor you always extract from to fund the system? You have increased tax. If you have your 10 naira in the bank, gradually the bank is taking it from you on e-transfer. Yeah. You know, the same government are charging all those things. Are those things not enough? Can government cut that costs to fund education? Must it be that you take off from the system? Look at the student loan. You are saying that you want to give student loan 5 billion naira for Nigerian students. How many students in the university? Over 17 million students are in Nigerian universities. 17 million students. Divide that by 5 billion naira. How much can we? Now, supposing we even have the access, they are going to access this loan. Look at the conditions attached. No poor man. If you are minimum wage earner, you cannot access it. And how much a minimum wage? 30,000 naira. If you are working, your parents are any 30,000 naira. Multiply that, two of your parents, 30,000 naira, multiply that, you get above 500,000 naira a month. That means you cannot access it. That means a poor man child cannot access that fund with those conditions. Then those who are going to sign and other thing, it tells you that it's beyond the reach of anybody. So invariably, the poor man child cannot go to school by this policy. So government should have a rethink. I know they have the heart of education, so they should have a rethink. Not all advice coming from advisors or that government take, they should stray it with another inner before they come out with this policy, so that there will not be protests and before you retract some of these policies.
Okay, anyways, I'll plead with you. We need to go on a break now, so at least we can also pay our own IGR and get our own. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion as it concerns the recent directive and policy from the federal government insisting that 40% IGR from universities, especially being funded by federal government,